Welcome back to Chrome and Classics, the channel where we breathe new life into automotive legends, one restoration at a time. If you're into classic and performance cars, make sure to hit that subscribe button because today we're tackling one of the most iconic JDM monsters of all time, the 1999 Nissan Skyline GT-R R34. This isn't just any car, it's a legend, a machine that set the standard for Japanese performance in the late 90s and early 2000s. But the one we've got today, it's far from showroom condition. It's a neglected shell of its former glory, but we're about to bring it back to life. This R34 came to us in rough shape, dented panels, a faded Bayside Blue paint job that had lost its luster, and an RB26 DETT engine that hadn't fired up in years. It had been sitting in a garage, forgotten, collecting dust and rust. But beneath the neglect, the soul of this machine was still intact. We had one mission: restore it to its former glory and maybe, just maybe, add a few tasteful upgrades along the way. The first step was a full teardown. We started by removing the hood, front bumper, fenders, and side skirts. Years of road grime and corrosion had settled in, and as we pulled each piece, we uncovered hidden rust spots in the wheel wells and under the side skirts. It was clear we were in for more bodywork than we initially thought, but that's part of the challenge, and honestly, it's what makes these restorations so rewarding. Next up was the engine bay. The RB26 DETT twin-turbo inline-6 is the heart and soul of the R34, but ours was in a sorry state. The turbos were seized, the fuel injectors were clogged, and the wiring harness looked like it had been chewed up by time itself. We carefully pulled the engine, marking and labeling every connection to make reassembly easier. Once the motor was out, we sent the block and cylinder head to a machine shop for a complete rebuild. New bearings, new pistons, upgraded camshafts, and a fresh timing belt. While we waited, we turned our attention to the chassis. With the engine out, we stripped the engine bay completely, sanded it down, and applied a fresh coat of high-temperature primer and paint to protect against future corrosion. Underneath, the suspension was next on the list. We swapped out the tired factory setup for a set of Nismo S-tuned coilovers, ensuring this GT-R would handle like a dream once back on the road. New control arms, fresh polyurethane bushings, and upgraded sway bars would give it a sharper feel through the corners. With the undercarriage refreshed, it was time to tackle one of the biggest jobs: restoring the body. The faded Bayside Blue paint had seen better days, with deep scratches, peeling clear coat, and minor dents scattered across the car. After stripping the paint down to bare metal, we addressed the rust, welded in fresh metal where needed, and meticulously prepped the surface for a fresh coat of KH2 Bayside Blue, the original factory color that made the R34 so famous. Painting a car isn't just about slapping on new color. It's an art. We laid down multiple layers of primer, carefully sanded between coats, and then applied 3 layers of deep, lustrous Bayside Blue, finishing it off with several coats of clear for that showroom shine. When the final layer dried and we buffed it out, the transformation was already mind-blowing, but we weren't done yet. Now it was time to turn our attention back to the RB26. With the rebuilt engine back in the shop, we began the reassembly. The twin turbos were replaced with a HKSG TIII-SS twin-turbo upgrade, providing better spool and more power while maintaining street drivability. A fresh HKS intercooler, new fuel injectors, and a custom titanium exhaust system ensured we'd get the performance to match the car's aggressive looks. Once the engine was back in the bay, we wired everything up, double-checked all connections, and prepped it for the first start. The moment of truth. With fresh Model 15 W50 oil in the engine, premium fuel in the tank, and a new ECU tune, we turned the key. The starter cranked, the fuel pump primed, and then boom. The RB26 roared back to life with a deep throaty growl settling into a perfect idle. Hearing that inline-6 sing after years of silence? Absolutely priceless. With the heart of the beast alive, we moved on to the interior. The old seats were worn and torn, so we swapped them out for a pair of Recuro SR7s for better support. The original dash was in decent shape, but the gauges needed an upgrade. A Nismo 320 km/h cluster replaced the stock unit, and we installed a Momo steering wheel for that perfect driver's feel. The finishing touch, a brand new carbon fiber center console to tie everything together. With the interior complete, all that was left was the wheels and tires. We chose a set of Volk Racing TE37 SLs in bronze, wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, providing the perfect balance of grip and style. With the wheels torqued down and every bolt double-checked, it was time for the final test, a proper shakedown run. We took the newly restored R34 out to some winding back roads, and let me tell you, this thing drove like a dream. The RB26 pulled hard, the twin turbos spooled up beautifully, and the chassis felt planted through every corner. This was the GTR experience in its purest form, and seeing it back on the road where it belongs, that's what restoration is all about. Bringing this 1999 Nissan Skyline GT-R R34 back to life was a journey, one filled with challenges, long nights in the garage, and a few setbacks along the way. But when you hear that engine roar, feel the precision of the rebuilt suspension, and see the mirror-like finish of that Bayside Blue paint under the sun, every second spent was worth it. That's a wrap for this restoration. If you enjoyed watching this legendary R34 come back to life, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more builds. Let me know in the comments, what car should we restore next? Until next time, this is Chrome and Classics signing off.